So this is my finished picture. You guys want to copy the process, but you don't have to copy this picture. You can do your own animals, your own landscape. You could do similar ones if you want to, but it's really up to you guys, okay? Good luck and have fun! So I have my finished drawing. I made a little list of the things I want to use and that I need to make stencils of. Now I'm going to take my paper. I actually have two here, so pretending that's my manila folder. I'm going to cut it up so I can make little rectangles. And you want to make sure that you leave enough space around your stencil, because if you're using a sponge, if the edge is too close to the edge of my paper, I don't want to end up getting colored paints over the edge of my stencil. So you want to give yourself a little bit of border to do your prints. I'm going to take two of these to make a little bit smaller rectangles. I'm going to divide this into 3 instead of 2. And then I'm going to leave one of these for the trees. Let me cut it in half. So that will be for my tree trunks, and then this one I'm going to cut in half this way for my snail and my frog. So now this we can leave out, but we could also use this potentially as our cloud. So we'll put that to the side, and then on your stencils, we're going to get tape in a minute. You're going to want to put this off to the side because we're going to tape the stencils after. Now you should be drawing your stencil shapes on your cardstock or manila folder and cutting each one out one at a time. Make sure when you're cutting, once you cut over to your drawing, stay on the pencil line making one long continuous cut and just turn your paper as you go. You need to make sure you stay on that pencil line. Alright, so for the next step, you're going to want to take your stencil pieces and tape where you cut them. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Tape as exactly as you can. Oops, you don't want it to be over your design. You want it to at least be closer to the edge. So I'll try to do it right in the middle. Oops. Now, if you have, that one's all set. If you have a thin area, let me see if I can find one. Like this is a really thin area. You can take a scrap, put it underneath. Make sure it's not underneath your design, so it's from the edge going outward. And you can tape that, and it will also help give you more room where you can put your stamp. And then if it hangs over the edge, you can just turn it on the other side, flip it over, and tape it down there. Sorry, this is so bright, guys. Let me see if I can, there, maybe that'll help. Let me put this here too. All right, so this one is done. Now let me show you another scenario. Oh, okay. Another thing I was going to tell you is if you had no tape, but you have glue, you can do this. So you're going to glue them all. So cut a scrap piece of paper and then, or folder, and then what you'll do is put the glue right here where your cut is. Let's see if I can do that over the side. Where your cut is, put glue like here and here, even all the way to the edge if you want. Then turn it and glue it onto another paper. But again, remember, make sure, let me just do it so you can see through. Make sure that the paper behind it isn't obstructing your design. So always do it from the edge off of the paper, going off, if that makes sense. Because if I start putting this in here to glue it onto here, now it's messing up my design. So glue it at the very edge of where your cut starts. Okay, so I'm gonna tape mine there because this is a very thin edge for the tape. All right, boys and girls, so the next step is to do the background of your picture. So you're going to want to have a sponge. I have a little sponge, but you can just get a regular kitchen sponge and cut it into little pieces, and you just need one because you'll be able to wash it out. So I'm going to use this little sponge I have, and you're going to use your tempera paints. So here you can see I have my wavy line for the ground. I'm just going to get a little bit of brown paint, and I'm going to sponge it over the top. Line it up, and then continue my line. Okay, I'm going to do another row right up here. Okay, I'm done with this, so I can put this in the trash, and I can bring this up a little bit lightly. Notice I didn't get any more paint on my sponge to do this part, because I wanted it to look nice and light. I'm gonna rinse my sponge. So I decided to do the clouds first, because the sky is the thing that's all the way in the very, very back of the picture. So to do the clouds, I actually used the cutout from the tree, and I mixed white and blue together so that I got kind of a marbly effect with my sponge. What you're going to do is you're going to stencil around the edge of that cutout. So if you wanted to do clouds, you would put it up on the background and then go around it, and the clouds are underneath. I added a couple of little light dots onto it to give it some texture, and then filled the blue all the way down to the very bottom where the dirt is. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take each stencil and you're going to do the same thing. You're not going to do it the way we did the clouds. You're going to do it the way you see here with the tree. You're going to lay your stencil over where you want it positioned and then dab in the color in the space where you cut it out. You want to do it in order that you want things to appear from the back to the front. So if you want it to look like there was grass behind a tree, you would want to stencil that in before you put the trees in. So think about what you want in the background, what you want to come forward, okay? So here I mixed colors to get kind of a little effect in there, and you can try that out too if you'd like to. So as I'm going, I'm just trying to think of what I want to go in the back and what I want to go in the front. So I put all the flowers in toward the back. I left out any grass that I want to go in front of the snail. Sorry, I know it gets cut off a little bit here. But at the bottom, I put a little bit of the grass on the sides, and then the snail is gonna go right in that space that's empty. So I left that space open for my snail. And then I'm going to start adding my flowers, because the flowers I think are behind the snail. So I'm going to continue adding the background. I also realized the tree tops would be behind the flowers. So if the flowers overlap the tree top needs to be in there too. One other important thing is that you want to wait for each layer to dry. So you don't really want to overlap something new on top of something that's still wet. Now I've got my background done. So let this part dry, and you're going to save the backgrounds to start out with part 2.